which is a vav, into a nun. I'm not sure exactly what it means. I want to read this thing we saw yesterday, look at it a little bit more closely, and then we'll go on from there. Of course, we're in Purim, talking about Purim number Yud Gimel, down the Shefik of Monas. It's the Haragas Mordechai with the Philosoph of the 18 Zonvo Shal Nachosh Hemshech Regel Akuf. Now, that whole idea is an idea that offhand, is in our culture wouldn't make any sense. So, how is it that you take a letter, the letter Hey, which we're assuming that this is the final letter Hey, and you're able in some way, they are able in some way through kishuf or whatever they do, to have the kavanah of extending it and making it into a kuf instead of a Hey. Ayin Drush Tchom Shabbos, he says, if we saw that, Shuhu Sod Nachash Karuch Al Kevo. It's a secret of extending this leg, so to speak, is the concept of bringing a serpent to wrap itself around your ankles. She'os Vav Shebetocha Os Hey, Nim Shechavin As Nun Besocha Os Kuf. Betoch ha'os kuf, so it becomes the nun that's on the left side of the kuf. Yeah, that's the way he said it. V'yired is the matav makom makali, and then this has the ability then to extend this. This is their kavanah to extend this into the place of the kali. First of all, what does he mean by the place of the kali? So, well, the Kali is a place of death, but I think that it's like a moral death, I think. And I'm also wondering what he means by hanging him, like hanging him, he'd be dead. You read this in Nachash, and this, you read the Nachash, Shuhu HaKali, Karoch Al Ikve HaKedusha Mamish. It's really surrounds itself, wraps itself, covers over Kedusha. V'oz na'asas kuf. Then it becomes a kuf, and he says there's a metaphor for this. It is the kali hanikra kuf bifnei Adam. This is like a monkey with the face of a man. A monkey is an animal, but it looks like a man. So this is what they want to do to Mordechai. It's hay, and the hay is like malchus. V'cha'oz hay hazos, he says hakadusha. So this hay, this holy hay, shulu kotzer, short. Ve'ena yored the mat, doesn't go down at all into the netherworld, so to speak. Kamosha os kuv. V'hu sod ha'iver shalakadusha. So it's the gestation, it's the secret. Which is the secret? The letter hay. Letter Hey is, I guess he means like the womb. It's a secret of gestation. Morla os Hey Shebeshem Shebeshmo Shel Hevel. So he says this corresponds to Hey, which you find in the name Hevel. Now again, where'd this come from? So he said like Hevel. So he says Ed, of course, the son of Adam and Rishon, Shagam Hu Hoya Legamri B'Kedusha. He was completely Kedusha. So when it lengthens itself down, out, and it makes itself a long vav, like a nun, beshuta, so like a simple nun, like with a straight nun, he says, v'az na'asas kuf mora al kuf shel kain, then it becomes more like kain, bein Adam and Rishon. Now, all of that's interesting that he's able to say that, but there's something missing here, there's a lot missing here, so keep looking here. Shahum ba'urav tov v'roa, that which is actually extending it down like a klipa noga, which has a little bit of both in it. V'zecha v'yuva b'masha amazal hasheker ein lo raglayim, that the sheker has no legs. What does that mean? Even though the normal place of the klipa really is opposite the nai or the netzach hod yisod, just say now we're just talking about the netzach and the hod, shehem netzach and hod, Iger achizasa he beregel lahod levado, but actually where it actually holds on is only on the left leg. So the left leg is the leg called hod. Regel echa v'lo b'shtei raglaim. It doesn't really hold on to the both sides. So this is something about hod. Hod is on the left side. It's a sign of din. V'zecha b'sod nezasani shomema called yom dova. He says that you made me desolate. The whole day I'm sick. He says that dova, this sickness he's talking about, what he means by that I'm not sure, but he says it's talking about getting infected by the kali. He says Tamuras Hod, which is that word dova is actually the letters of the word hod. Ki b'yom hey, the 5th day of the week, which is incidentally today is the 5th day of the week. Shehu hod necharav v'beis, which is hod. Necharev v'beis mikdash b'alef ha'chamishi. So that's the time when the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. V'gam zeh sod. V'hodi, my glory, I guess, nehefach alai lemashkis, to it, something that is destroyed, to a destroyer. Avol netzach, but let's just switch over and look at the other leg. So, as we said before, the kuf is an extension of the left leg, of the left, which is originally a vav. Aval he says the netzach omar ne'emar bo gam netzach Yisrael yolo shakar, where it says that also the netzach of the Jews is not going to lie. So what does that mean? Ki ein hasheker ne'echaz beregel nikra netzach, because over there it says netzach Yisrael refers to Hashem. So the netzach, the conqueror, or the main force, or the successor. He who succeeds is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's too much light over there, so it can't be on the right side. It has to be on the left side. Rock regel small levad. Shehu sod hahod. V'sham nachash karach. That's where you find the serpent wrapped around, he says. Alakev besodis pashas regel hakuf kanoida, was this the same idea. V'zecher v'gam inyan mitzvahs tzedakah. So this is also the mitzvah which we call the mitzvahs of tzedakah. Shebedachida b'chut tzedek b'kuf. So originally it's this is how you spell it, tzedek, doing the right thing, tzedek. But so the menochim sakala melakachas hashva'asas. But so what you have to do over there is keep the kali from getting a hold of the shefa that's coming for there. V'tachsa the hios hey, then it comes back, it retracts itself back, or it becomes the other way, it becomes tzedakah with the letter hey. Kamosha kasav rav zachal b'shachar ruach kodesh. He said yichud nudama nuna aleph over there. He says the Zaldashono. Vod yizocher bekavanas mitzvahs of tzedakah. So therefore, more going on, you should have this kavanah when you're giving tzedakah. That tzedek, which is doing the right thing, I think, or just doing the proper thing, has to be turned into the kavanah to tzedakah. The mate gedinich malchus ha'omedet ba'ach zer'anpen, to sweeten the din of the malchus ha'omedet ba'ach raise the zer'anpen. So I have this on Shabbos. I have a chavrusa now, and he's very interested in Parnasa. And so that we look at the Rishash, we looked at the Rishash where it goes with this word chatach. I think chatach is a regular Hebrew word, which means like the place of the cut. You see that also when talking about Yisrael, the difference between Yisrael Sabbat Tavuna and Abba B'Imei Loyin. There's a cut between the two of them. I don't know if it has anything to do with Parnasa. So at any rate, when you get to the end of that, there's a place where it talks about sweetening. Because on one hand, you could bring down the shefa, but on the other hand, the shefa could destroy you as well if you don't have some sweetening in that. And here he's talking about, to me, the same idea. Of a ta'alach of regular kuf, so then the regular kuf retract itself into the tsuras of the hey shorish hevel. Go back to hevel. Umetzedek te'i tzedakah. So that's a little idea there. So trying to figure out how it is that you, first of all, how could they do this? What, in our culture, we don't have an idea like this, that somehow you could attack the Jews by strengthening by lengthening the hay, the left line of the hay, into a kuf. If yesh makom levar, so there's a place explained like this: sheikar machshavas haman b'achshverosh choisach adabata binyan beis hamikdash. That's really what was the most important thing to them. The Chaim also the harag as Mordechai v'tlos ola eight, so therefore they wanted to hang Mordechai now and hang him from this tree. So again, I don't see the metaphor how hanging Mordechai. Once you hang, you're dead. So, but this whole idea, the kishuf of what they're trying to do, has to do with the concept of making this kuf, which is the number 100, whose zanva shal nachosh, and that leg is actually the tuma of the snake, which has to do with the left line of a letter hey, that somehow you could get into that line, extend it down, and then it has to do with the pole, which is interesting. What kind of a pole is 100 feet tall? Let's say if it's 50 almas. So it's 100. So anyway, so as we extended down this regel of the kuf, shuhu inyan churban beis hamikdash, which is this time of total kuliya, there's a total destruction. Beso nisani shomema kol yom dava, that phrase we had before. I'm desolate. I'm sick all the time. Tomorrow's hod, that's the sickness that you're going to, this death spiral. V'nisbata etzaso. So then it becomes a bittul of this piece of advice for Hoya Ha'ara Gadola. So then you see there's a great time of V'gam Purim. So he's a Tamuras Ho. And this has the ability to bring it all back. He said, Hoya Ha'ara Gadola V'nes Purim She'in Yanenu Ba'ak. Now it's another thing here, that the Indian of Nes of Purim, and it would be nice to see this. I don't know where it is. It's Purim she'in yonena ba'ak v'rababiyah de netzach. So this sounds like this is the Rishash, Kamavura b'sidr Rishash. So I really didn't look for it, and I didn't really see it. V'dok v'tzarach iyun. So understand what this whole thing has to do with. Ak actually becomes before. That's the real root of all. That's like the going from the Absag, the Ak, that they say, going into a Bia, and then, but he says, there is an Ak and a Bia in all the Spheros, he says, particularly in Netzach, which is our salvation. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Maybe we'll read up at the top just to get an idea. There's a nice kasha here. So if this actually would come about, so they could kill the people they hate, which are the Jews. Hashem excuse me, Barachamav, Heir Ha'araz Nuk El Yonah, he causes the Nuk El Yonah to shine. He Gadol is more. What is this? This is the growing of Mordechai Esther. So this is a place we see the word Esther. Before that, we're all talking about Mordechai only. This lifts the Jews out of this pain, this ability to be able to shine like that through the Nuk, the Tzarach HaGadolah HaMoshenet Voyer, as we explained. So let's see. There is a number Yud Dalet here, and there's a number Tes Vav. So he says like this. Ha'aras Nuk El Yonah, so the light that comes from the Nuk El Yonah. The Chora Ein Zecha Ba'aras Nuk Ba'etzim. That is not really the light of the Nuk. We understand the Nuk has really no light of her own anyway. Ela Ha'aras HaMochin Da'aba, but really, it's really Ha'ara, a radiance that comes out of the Mochin Da'aba Shehem Me'irim B'Nuk, that shine into the Nuk. So that's all interesting in the fact that he doesn't say that it's the essence of the light of Abba either. He says that it's a shining that comes from the Abba, which is like a secondary light. That's what the words say. Shuhu Shorish Nishmas Mordechai. And this light of Abba, this light is the root of Mordechai. The Nikras Elyon, it's called up above. So what does that mean? Up the highest. Hagam Shachanuk Omeda Betachtis Olam Atzilus. So whereas we already know that she's at the very bottom of Atzilus. So where'd you get Elyona from? Yoshihi Elyona the Gabe Olam Hazeh. So that is that she's preliminary or pranimi to this world. Let's go on to the next one. Vihi Gedulas Mordechai ve'Esther. So he said V'yesh the Ayin Malchu Hagavana Gedulas Mordechai ve'Esther. The Yesh Kam Eza Ha'ara Shal Esther Vitzark Levire Malchu Harasa. So therefore we have to understand what exactly is it. V'od Sark Levire, it's because we've been saying all along that it's from Mordechai, and he just mentioned that it's coming, it actually means Ha'ara that's coming from the Yisod of Abba. So he said, V'od Sark Levire Im Yesh Ha'ara Shal Esther. If Esther has her own Ha'ara, Lama lo nilcham Haman rak im Mordechai. So why did he only want to attack Mordechai? V'klala, maybe he didn't know. I mean, it's such an astrologo that he couldn't understand this, and he has all these 365 Yoatzim and plus his wife, and he missed the fact that Esther's out there too. V'klala yesh devayer harei kol hanes na'asa al yada. All the miracle really comes out through her. Ha'ara shal PURIM nikras ha'ara shal Mordechai, but the ha'ara that comes out, don't tell me that. I don't think that really solved it. Just shows you there's a little problem here. Shal PURIM nikras ha'ara shal Mordechai. It's called the ha'ara of Mordechai, not really the ha'ara of Mordechai and Esther. But on the other hand, everything comes out through her because I guess she is Malchus. That's our iyum. So that goes like that. Now the next piece. Is material that we know, and it's long, and he goes through basically the concept of how the mochin come in from Abba Ve'ima. Abba's inside of Ima, and he explains why, because the higher level is always hidden. And then he goes through all the different parts of the nai of Abba Ve'ima. And when it's once it said, we understand that entering into the head, so to speak, of Zeranpin, Netzach and Hod go down the sides, and they actually penetrate the entire level of Zeranpin. Yisod is different. That is, when he says about the mochin, he says that is the mochin of Abba Ve'ima are going down the right side and the left side, but when you come to the middle, it's not exactly the same. And he says over there, as we know, that the Yisod of Ima is short and broad, whereas the Yisod of Abba is long and lengthy and thin, and so therefore it passes right through the opening of Ima into the area which will be the Gilui, whereas all the mochin inside of Ima are going to go into the Gilui. And he goes into a little bit about the creation of Rachel and Yaakov are on the front of Zeranpin. Let's move over to the last page, that is page Kuf Zayin. And let's read in the second line in the middle of it. He says, "V'lefi zecha bena'asa shinu bartzufin denuk shehem Rachel v'Leah, lefi shachaklal hu shekadei shacha'or hapanimi yuchul l'tzeis lebenois parts of einu yochel libkoach rach masach echad." So we're talking about now when the lights are coming out. You have here the masach of the Yisod of Abba, which is in the space below the Chaza. And you have the Gilui, which takes place in the Yisod of Ima, which is at the Chaza, and then it goes into a Gilui. So in that case, it's wide open. So therefore, in both cases, they're not considered to be a masach to keep the light from getting out. Parts of Leah nivnes me'ach the malchus de Ima, so it's made out of Ima material. So therefore it's able to break out, but let's say so actually to get out when it's up above the chaza, that's what Leah is. She has to go through the barriers of the chaza. Sheyesham rak masuk echad. There's only shel hakli the yisod the ima. That's all that's there above. Talk about above the chazer. Above the parts of Yaakov, shuhu nisakim ba'ach da'ab me'ach da'aba, which is built out of the backside of Abba. Became Rachel shemekabelas v'rasecha me'ima b'hi yosef begulim, since all those lights are out in the body of Zeranpin. V'gam oros da'aba misayim b'binyan partzufa. So also it really ends and the construction of the parts of, I think, of Zeranpin. He means k'maymer betikun ditini zohor ava yasid barta. So it ends rather at the misod of the nukva. Any yecholah de koyach rak lemata rabin chaz lemata can only go through the chaz lemata, because otherwise it would have to go through the yisod of ima as well, and it would go through its own yisod and then through the yisod of ima. That's hard. Can't be done. Shesham ein masach shall klicha yisod the ima, because below the chaza the masach is not there. So therefore we see that the partsuf of Yaakov now goes out onto the front side. But this all taking place below the chaza, because there you have the lights of ima or megula. So that's all you have there. So let's go on to number Kaf Bet. We have just a little bit more time. I should have raised there's a problem here. So number Kaf Bet is Inyan Mordechai v'Harazel. This is the maskil levayer Inyan Mordechai v'Harazel. Shenimshkal al yado, that is extended out through him. V'da ki hinei bizman. So he says v'nan dormita the zeranpin. When zeranpin falls into deep sleep. Lo bilvad yotzar b'mochen dezerah mitzad nahi de'imer b'neknas b'nok rachel b'hiyosa ach ba'ach ela af gam hamochen the b'nahi da'aba also. Hinecha b'zer anpen yesh bo shtei b'chinas mochen da'aba v'raboyim v'levash ha'betoch v'boch levush nahi de'ima mochen de'ima v'levashim toch levush nahi de'ima. And they all go into Zeranpin. So when everything nistalkim amochin, hamstalchos amochin that come out of Zeranpin, nistalku shnech amochin heim the abba v'heim the ima, both of them go out. V'shnechem niknasim toch rachel, and both of them wind up going inside of Rachel. Nuk the Zeranpin besod mochin. Mochin ba'od shehi omedes adayim as ach ba'ach im zeranpin, while she's still standing ach ba'ach with zeranpin. Now let me see if that Yud Zayin popped up here. So he says, so he says, let's see, where's Kaf Dalet? So let's look at Yud Dalet, because there's a kasha here. Because we know that actually that the Yisod of Abba is going to say this, Gam HaMochin the B'nai the Abba. The Hiksham Meforshim, the Bedrash Rosh Hashanah over there is a cause of specifically the B'shasa Dormita Niknasim B'toch Hanok Rak Moach Habina V'itrich the Gevura. So he says that Nikna B'toch Hanok Rak Moach Habina, that's only one V'itrich the Gevuros. It is the left side, that is with the left side of Das and the and Bina, all that whole side there. That's what's going to go into the Nok. Under the Moach Hadan B'chula the Shtei Etrin. The Gevuros was small. This goes along with the idea that Kuf a little bit. The Chasadim. Afshagam Heim Yatzach B'zer Anpin B'shasa Dormita. Because Makom Ein Niknas to the Toch Nook, they don't go into the Nook at all. Raknish Oh boy. Okay, that's the end right there. They had to go. And we're going to pick this up tomorrow, but this is a nice kasha, and it's a little bit complicated to see how it is possible that if the Meforshim are telling us that, or the Rav is telling us that when the Mochin leaves their Anpin, only the Mochin of the left side go into the Nukva, whereas the others remain on top of the head as their Anpin. But over here we're saying it's actually a Ha'ara from Abba that's coming out through the Nook, and we just have a contradiction there Does the Nook actually have Abba inside of her or not? So we'll see how that goes. I have an explanation here. It's a strong kasha.